Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It depends on when you're watching this. Welcome to Coffee Convo Wednesday. My name is Cindy Simmons. This is Coffee Convo Wednesday for Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, episode 177. I have a special guest, and I'm kind of excited. Hello, Chris Perdue.
How are you?
I'm doing well. So we're at a different location. We're not in my kitchen where we normally are. You might have guessed that by the background. We are actually in Salisbury, Maryland. We are spending a couple of days at Perdue Farms, and I got to meet Chris Perdue. You might have figured out by the last name that he has something to do with Perdue. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you are normally here every Wednesday, welcome back. We're going to be here for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we're going to have a fun Perdue Farms giveaway at the very end. If you would go ahead and comment, like, share this video. If you are watching on YouTube, click subscribe. That would be amazing. I wanted to invite Chris on the show just to kind of talk to him about our experience. There are 20 of us here at Perdue Farms, and we've just been learning everything about chickens and family and farmers. So I wanted to have him on the show to kind of just talk more about his experience being a part of the Perdue family, who has been around for, next year will be 100
years.
100 years. So Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself and obviously your fourth generation, right?
Yep, so I'm a fourth generation family member here at Perdue. My great-grandfather, Arthur, started Perdue in 1920 in the original farmhouse that you see on our packaging, and we had Cindy there and a couple other folks on Monday night. We had some cocktails and hung out and got to see the original farmhouse. So then my grandfather joined him. He was born in 1920 in that house. So that's kind of the reason why it's on the package. It's not just kind of a piece of stock art that someone's found. It's a real place.
House.
We went there, we touched it, we smelled it, we felt it. You know, actually my wedding band has a bunch of the iron from one of the nails that my grandfather hammered into the roof when he built it himself that I pulled out. We ground it down and we put it into my wedding band. So that's not something I normally tell very many people, but now it's officially out there on the internet. But yeah, so the farmhouse turned 100 2 years ago, and then next year will be our 100th anniversary of our company, and we're thrilled to be sharing that journey with our consumers. We've got a lot of great plans in store. There's some Guinness records we're looking at maybe trying to break. There's a bunch of donations and things that we're doing with food banks that we're working with. There's a whole slew of stuff that we're going to announce and kick off in the next couple months as we prepare for our 100th anniversary in 2020. But yeah, we're thrilled to have you here and a bunch of other friends of yours that we're looking forward to working with over the next couple
I think
years.
Something Chris also forgot to mention is the fact that he just got married and he's about to be a dad shortly, right?
It's true. No, it's my we've done it quick. I said my birthday in 2016, which is in June. I hadn't met my wife yet. By June of 2017, we had met and were engaged. By June of 2018, we were married. And by now, June of 2019, we are expecting our first child, and now come January.
Do you know what you're having?
We're having a little boy.
Yeah, do you have names picked out?
We are working on that right now. That is
Is it a secret? Is it a...
Well, we don't have there's no short list of we're down to 2 or something.
Okay.
It's still reaching around in the dark. That whole abstract process of trying to name something and someone that you've never met and you don't know their personality, and I've had to do it with pets in the past, and you struggle over it, and I know it's so hard, but then the second it's born, or you get your dog or something like that, it feels natural and perfect. So it'll work itself out.
So he's going to be 5th generation Perdue.
Yep.
I think the thing for me that I loved about this visit is probably like you don't really know a lot about where your food comes from. I sure didn't. I'm also not a big cook. Anyone who watches the show knows my husband is the one who cooks. But I think the thing for me, I've had so many great takeaways about being here at Perdue Farms, is I think there was maybe a misconception, if you will, that chickens, they're treated terribly or whatever. And I think what I've loved about this experience is you only work with families of farmers, and everything about Perdue Farms is literally what it says. You're a farm family.
Yep.
And everything is the real deal. Like, we went to your parents' house last night, and they're totally the real deal. Normal people who love and are passionate about raising chickens and I was kind of almost overwhelmed by that. Like, wow, this isn't just like this big corporation. We're buying our chicken from someone's family. We're buying it from your family, which I think is really, really cool. Was this something when you were growing up, did you understand the importance of this?
So let me put it this way. I understood the importance in the fact that it was an everyday value for us to support our associates and work with our farmers and be there, right? That we weren't, insulated from the business. My memories, when people ask me what it was like growing up in the business, my memories are of Saturday mornings and you've got guys working at the barge dock because we're bringing some corn in, of going down there and bringing the guys cups of coffee or something. Or if it's a late night at one of our poultry plants and the guys are having to work an extra shift, that we'd stop by there with some pizzas and make sure that they, knew that we were caring for them and thankful for their extra time and effort that they were putting into the work that they were having to do on some overtime. That's what it was. So it was a method of just, that's who we were. We're very hands-on. We like to be there. If you talk to, I think, our farmers and our associates, we try to be, have a lot of face time with them and make sure that they know that we appreciate what they're doing.
Well, and you can tell that's totally evident there. Like, it just seems that people genuinely love being a part of your family and being a part of it's like a team almost, this family team. And then the other thing I really love too is, and maybe another misconception of maybe how the chickens are treated, I felt from this experience that I watched chickens almost being treated better than humans in a silly way, like that they're being raised in this environment where they're almost like going to like chicken college. Like, they get to play and almost have parties and they're running around on chicken playgrounds. And I loved watching the well-being, and that to me was something that was really important, because obviously I love animals, but I loved that the care that Perdue Farms shows to these animals. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
So over the last 10 years, we've really changed the way that we think about how we want to raise our animals. And this is a strange way to put it, but we like to say that if the chicken had a choice of which company it could be raised by, we would say that we want to be the first in line for their choice. And so we've started a ton of initiatives, and I'll preface this by saying that the reason why we're doing this is because we believe in these things.
Yeah.
It's important to us, and as a private family-owned business, we can commit to these things and say that we're not doing this because it's going to help our next quarterly report to our public shareholders or something. We can put a stake in the ground, commit to an initiative that we want to pursue because we think it's the right thing to do for our animals, and we'll figure out down the long road how to make the economics of it work. But over the last 10 years, we've done a lot of initiatives with animal care, with committing to the 5 freedoms for our chickens, and we have all sorts of information on this stuff. But we're the first large poultry company to go antibiotic free, and we paved that path over 10 years. We worked on this program and rolled it out, and then all of our competition kind of saw what we were doing and kind of chased after us.
I love that. I mean, that right there, I want to stop you to just say how important that is, that you're not using antibiotics. Like, that to me was like a game changer. Yeah, for sure.
And there's other companies that have antibiotic-free products, but they'll have a whole portfolio of other products that do still have antibiotics, or they'll play with the messaging and say we're not using antibiotics that are important to humans. And our perspective is we don't think the consumer should have to be educated and become an expert on which antibiotics are the right antibiotics that I should or shouldn't have in the food that I'm eating or not. We said that we just don't want to deal with antibiotics at all. We think there's a better way. We think it's achievable and doable, and we use things like probiotics and prebiotics and extracts from rosemary and oregano and thyme, and we just have found a lot more natural alternatives to just dosing animals with antibiotics every single day.
Well, and this speaks to also, I think, how we as a society, so many people are just becoming more concerned with what we're putting in our bodies, what we're eating, where it comes from. I have 2 daughters, so I want to know what we're eating, what our family, or my husband is cooking, but what we're eating, and making sure that we're eating something that has come from a reputable place, which is exactly what you all have become.
Yep, and that's one of the other areas that we've looked at when it comes to what you're eating and what you're eating has eaten.
Right.
So that's the animal byproducts thing that
Yeah.
we've talked about, right? So we really spent the last couple days kind
have.
of kumbaya-ing and having this
have.
love fest and seeing all, all the farms and hatcheries and all this great stuff. So, we're not trying to come on here and convert everybody. We're just kind of sharing our story.
Yeah.
But that's a big misconception too, that in addition to antibiotics, part of the reason why some of these animals needed antibiotics is because they were being fed a diet that has animal byproducts in it as well, which
It's gross.
Which and we're gonna speak to that maybe in some marketing stuff in the next coming months. But but things like bone meal, blood meal, animal fats, feathers, things like that they put back into the animal feed because it's cheap and
You
it's
have to be careful. I have a really bad gag. I had a friend be like,
But so that kind of went hand in hand with why they were being given antibiotics, is those things stress their GI. And so if we wanted to remove the antibiotics, it was natural that we also removed the animal byproducts. So we're also one of the only companies that has no animal byproducts in any of our feeds for our animals.
That's great.
It's 100% veggie fed diet and 100% antibiotic free across all of our product lines as well.
That's awesome. All right, so on Coffee Convo Wednesday, we talk about 3 topics. So since Chris Perdue is here and he's like the chicken expert, and also apparently likes to cook, and I do not, but really I have to be able to go back to my husband and say, I learned how to do this. So I thought if you had maybe a couple of cooking chicken tips that you could share, then I can, if my husband, I'm sure my husband's watching, but then I can be like, hey, honey, look what I learned today. I'm still going to make him cook, but at least I can talk a good.
Well, then these tips are for your husband then.
They're for my husband.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's great.
And everyone else who cooks.
Yeah.
Which is not me.
So I do love to cook, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram and whatever else. If you guys want to chat with me or talk to me,
I'll drop
that's fine. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest influencer in the world, so I'm not gonna be. I don't do this for a living, but I love interacting with people and making friends. So, but all right. So three tips from me. I would say first, whenever I use a chicken breast, chicken breasts are difficult to cook because one end is typically much thicker versus the bottom end of the breast, right, becomes much thinner. So by the time you cook the whole thing evenly through, one end tends to be dry, the other one, it's hard to get consistency.
Yeah.
So
I often have that problem.
Some of our friends are over here, and you can use our Perfect Portions chicken product, which is kind of pre-sliced. But I will thin slice my chicken breasts through to make them a consistent thickness all the way through the chicken breast, and you'll turn that one breast into 4 or 5 slices.
Oh, so not just like in half.
Right, not just in half. You'll kind of thin slice them all the way across. Right, not making strips or chunks. You're actually it's still a big fillet. It's just thin, but then you have a larger surface area with a consistent thickness. And when you then dredge that into flour, or you're putting that into a sauce, making a chicken marsala or chicken piccata or whatever you want. One, it cooks super fast because it's so thin.
Right, so it doesn't.
And because you're cooking it so quickly to the right temperature, it also stays moist, and you have more surface area for your breading and your flavors and all sorts of things like that. But it's done really, really quickly, and it's still very moist and very tender. So that's a one quick way to make sure that you are guaranteed good, moist, tender chicken when you're using a chicken breast.
I hope you're paying attention, honey.
The second tip that I'll give you all is, if you are interested in using sous vide, that is something that I personally love to do at home. And for those of you who don't know what that is.
Yeah, explain what that is, because I only know when I get egg bites from that coffee place. That's the only way.
So the idea so I'll actually back up one step. We don't want to be here all day. But the whole idea when you order like a steak at a restaurant and you say, I want a medium rare steak, that has nothing to do with how long that steak has been cooked. It has everything to do to what temperature that steak has been cooked to. So medium rare, most people would call medium rare somewhere in the about 128 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit window for steak.
Okay.
Right? And if I put a chicken in a water bath, in a bag, sealed at exactly 128 degrees, and I put it there, I could leave it for 3 hours or 1 hour or 5 hours, and it's still going to stay exactly at medium rare, because it is independent of time. It is a function of temperature.
Okay.
So sous vide is a process of cooking where you can control the temperature very precisely and not be so worried about time. And the reason why time normally is an issue is when you use an oven or a grill, right? You're cooking something that you say, I want to get the chicken to 160, but I'm going to put it in this oven at 400. So we're playing this kind of reckless game of how much do I cook it before I overcook it. So Sous vide is great because you can put it in a Ziploc bag or an airtight shrink wrapped vacuum sealed bag.
Okay.
Put it in a water bath with an immersion heating tool like an Anova or something like that,
Okay.
and cook it to the perfect temperature. So it's done, and it's also not rushed. You can kind of throw it in, start your dinner party, everything else. When you're ready to serve, pull it out, cut it open, and serve it, and it's ready to go and perfect.
That's great, because I think I have, not that I have any complaints about my husband cooking, because I'm literally just happy that it's not me. But when we have people over, when we have friends and family over, he's just in the kitchen the whole time having to, and he loves it because, like you, he's very passionate about cooking and cooking meats. It's like it's his jam. But he's off doing that the whole time.
Yep.
So this to me seems like it would allow a little more socialization of the hubster.
My wife and I have done this for a couple dinner parties specifically for that reason. We would make some lamb chops and that sort of thing, and we would have them ready to go for an hour before the party even started. So
Wow.
all we had to do was run in, cut them out of the bag, and essentially just lightly broil them or sear them with a torch and serve them, and they're ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay, do you
great.
have any?
All right, and my last one,
Okay,
I have
good.
one last one,
Okay.
and it's actually kind of a cop-out.
That's
in a good way.
That's speaking my food language
Yeah,
there. Like
which is for those of you who think you like chicken breasts and think you don't like dark meat, I would suggest go buy some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, because one, dark meat is not what it used to be a long time ago. It is still a very light, great meat, but there's more fat in dark meat, and fat is your friend when it comes to cooking. It makes the cooking process more forgiving. There's more moisture in that cooking process, so when it comes to overcooking or undercooking, generally you would rather overcook than undercook.
Okay.
But it makes the process more forgiving so that you can even overcook it by a little bit and it'll still be moist and tender and delicious and flavorful, versus white meat in the breast is a lot harder
Chris,
for some people.
this right now is mind-blowing for me, because my mama Jane lives with us, and she is always like, is that white meat or dark meat? So I'm super excited because my mom watches the show too, so that my mom is watching. It is okay to eat dark chicken meat.
It is. And truly, I mean, we haven't done studies on this, but I can tell you, by feeding people dark meat, there's people who, if you tell them it's white meat, they think it's the best chicken they've ever had, and then you tell them it's dark meat, and,
They're like-
and this alter ego comes out, and it's for no real reason, right? It's all the same exact chicken. It just happens to be a little more delicious, a little more juicy, a little more tender, all things that I think are positive
Hey,
attributes.
I love that. Chris Perdue from Perdue Farms, I'm super excited that you got to hang out with me on Coffee Convo Wednesday, and thank you to your awesome family for hosting us the last couple of days.
Absolutely.
I'm super thrilled with all of the knowledge that I have gained, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm going to continue to share it with you guys on socials and on here on the show, because we have some fun things in the works. So thank you, and cheers.
Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging out
Cheers.
with me.
Thank you.
All right, before we get out of here, we have one more guest. I'm really excited that Eric Christensen, he is the Chief Marketing Officer at Perdue Farms. And hi.
Hey, y'all.
I want to do my show out in the country like all of the time. This is my first time in Maryland. Hello, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having us.
So I, like was saying with Chris, I've learned so much about Perdue Farms, but one of the things that I'm really kind of geeked out about, and I don't normally get geeked out, like I said, about food and stuff, because my husband is the one who, but I have to eat. I don't eat vegetables. And the only way I get my vegetables is in a smoothie every day. So I eat them in a smoothie, and I may stomach some broccoli at dinner. But fun fact, many years ago I interviewed Dr. Oz, and he told me that when I told him about this ridiculousness, I was expecting him to say, oh, it's all in your head or whatever. He said, you might actually have a taste bud situation that is preventing you from liking vegetables. So now I basically go around and tell everyone, well, Dr. Oz said it's totally okay that I don't eat vegetables.
Good excuse.
So the reason I'm telling you about this is because I heard about this super awesome product that I'm geeking out about that Perdue Farms is coming out with. So I wanted Eric to come on and just tell me all about it.
Well, you're not the only one geeking. Well, thank you. Thank you. Cheers. You're not alone. A lot of people do not like vegetables. I'm in your camp, and I'm kind of the joke around the table, not eating my vegetables either.
Okay,
but,
so you feel me.
Yeah, so I feel it, but we're here to help.
Yeah,
because
thank you.
There are so many people out there that not just themselves, but little kids, big kids alike. What's the thing that's left on the plate?
Vegetables.
Yeah,
My
vegetables.
kids eat more vegetables than I do.
Okay. Well, usually it's the green stuff, the orange stuff, the yellow stuff. All that stuff. And so we are here to help. So we came out with this little idea, which my daughter, who's 10, thinks is magic.
Yes.
And it actually makes vegetables taste like chicken. And that's because we take what people love, and that's Perdue chicken, and we added some vegetables to our recipe, some cauliflower, some chickpeas, some other great plant protein to help boost the protein level.
Things I would never eat in real life.
Exactly, yeah. And we put them all together, and we made them into a nugget. We made them into a chicken tender. We made them into a chicken patty. And it is Perdue chicken you love, plus the vegetable nutrition you need. And it's called Perdue Chicken Plus. And it's at a store near you. We just launched it a couple of weeks ago. It's doing great. The reception's been outstanding, and so we can't wait to tell more people about it. And you're one of the first, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited. So wait, there's 3 different kinds of Chicken Plus, like the presentation of it.
Yeah.
So the chicken patty.
Yeah.
You said the chicken tender, and then the chicken nugget, which I love for kids because for kids and for me, honestly. But
it's even better than a regular chicken nugget. It's a dino nugget. So
yes,
many
they
kids
are. They're
will
like
only eat little dinos, so that's the form we went out. But they're very familiar forms that that kids love to eat, that big kids and little kids alike can dig in and enjoy.
And it's good. Like you guys know, I'm always honest with you, and I always say that I am going to work and partner with brands that I truly believe in and that our family believes in, and our family has eaten Perdue Farms chicken for as long as I can remember. Not 100 years, because I'm not that old. But having a new chicken product where there's vegetables in the chicken is mind-blowing to me.
And it is a quarter cup of vegetables in every serving. So if you buy a whole bag, and somebody may eat a whole bag, just like your Doritos.
Right.
But if you eat a whole bag of these things, you're going to get about 2.5 cups of vegetables into your diet. Now, we're not expecting people to do that.
So I was going to say, so what I'm hearing you say is that I probably need to eat a bag of Chicken Plus a day.
We're trying to help. People do not have problems getting protein in their diet, but they have problems getting vegetables. So it's a quarter cup of vegetables in every serving of nuggets, of every serving of tenders, in every patty, you get a quarter cup. And they're in the freezer aisle.
Okay.
So right next to the regular chicken nuggets, you'll find Perdue Chicken Plus, chicken nuggets, Perdue Plus tenders, and patties. And guess what? It's also a great value.
Oh, good. Okay.
So many companies will put out plant protein type things. It's the rage these days.
And then you're like, why is it $10 a bag?
Right. It is the same price as our regular chicken nuggets and our regular chicken tenders. Great. So it doesn't cramp the pocketbook in that respect. You can continue to feed your family great food they love.
Yay! Eric Christensen, he is the Chief Marketing Officer for Perdue Farms. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
Cheers. All right.
Okay, we didn't really
There we go.
Official. Okay, just before we get out of here, I want to say, you can stay here while I do my spiel. No, now you're stuck here. He's like, no, you're totally going to be stuck with me for just a minute. I wanted to say congratulations to Sally. She is actually from Chester Harbor, Maryland, which I just learned is not that far from where we are right now in Salisbury, Maryland. So that's kind of exciting. She won last week's It's a Small World Disney purse, so we will get that in the mail to you soon. But as always, we end on a giveaway. So on this show, I wanted to show off, I'm wearing one in case you can't tell. We have these really super cute aprons and then the Perdue Farms water bottle, which I kind of have to give my husband major props to because his company, My Smart Shirt, is doing all the promotional products for Perdue Farms. Great. So we're going to do a Perdue Farms goodie bag that will also have some Perdue Farms gift cards, so you guys can try as many Perdue Farms products as you want. That will be a goodie bag. So how do you win? If this is your first time watching, then you don't know. But if you have been watching, then you obviously know this is what we do every week. Just comment Perdue and the name of the state where you're watching Coffee Convo Wednesday, and then we will announce a winner next week on the show. So comment Perdue and the name of the state where you're watching Coffee Convo Wednesday, and we will pick a random winner for the Perdue Farms goodie bag, and we will announce and congratulate the winner next week. And then one more thing that Eric brought too, which I'm kind of excited about. If you leave your email address below, no, we're not going to send you a bunch of craziness, But we will send you some Perdue Farms coupons. So all you have to do, and this is separate from the giveaway, and as many of you who want, just drop your email address below, and then you will get coupons emailed to you from Perdue Farms, so you can check out some Perdue Farms products, including the new Chicken Plus.
There you go. Go get it.
So thank you so much for
thank you.
hanging out with me. Follow me on all the socials by going to cindysimmons.com. Spread joy and kindness like Nutella, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.